So I've been harping about how the middle for the game developers has been falling out, and it's really hard to live in that space anymore. And one of the developers from Ori, Thomas Mailer, has a really good post about this and the financial breakdown of this. Now, this is going to be from his dev side, but I'm going to talk about the publisher side as well, because this is going to show you why you can't get your middle-sized game funded anymore. So he breaks it down that they sold 2 million copies. 2 million copies of Ori. That's awesome, right? 2 million copies. That's a hit. That is a hit for a small indie team. Right? And so it cost $10 million to make the game and $2 million in marketing. So the $12 million that the publisher put up to make the game. But it sold 2 million copies, right? Well, they priced it at $20. And between sales and everything else, the gross revenue is around $20 million. Can you start seeing the math? Because remember, $20 million, that means you got to take 30% of Steam out in whatever platforms you have. They're all 30%, right? So you're left with $14 million. So the publisher takes that $12 million right off the table. And now you're fighting over $2 million. And that $2 million, the publisher is taking the bulk of it, right? And so what does he say the breakdown here is a 70-30 split. So the publisher takes 1.4 million and the developer takes 600,000. I'm going to get to his money in a minute, the 600,000. But the 1.4 million for the publisher, that's roughly a $12 million investment to make 1.4 million. That's 10% back on your money. That's almost like, actually I did that in the stock market better than that in the stock market last year. But stock market, you generally say 8%. So that's not far off, right? So that stability of the market, and I know it's not stable, nothing's for sure. But like they put up $12 million as a lot of risk to make $1.4 million back. Publishers look at that and go, we need to take bigger bets because we need to have bigger hits. Because if just one of these games fail, that 1.4 million won't cover the 12 million on the other, right? One of their games, if they published 3 games and they spend $12 million on each, maybe they'll make $4.2 million, but maybe one of those games will fail and only bring in $3 million. And then all of a sudden they've lost money. And it's just no money. And that's why you saw every single mid-sized publisher pull out, because the economics don't work anymore. You can't charge enough it costs too much money to make the game, and you can't charge enough to get your money back. And they can't go free to play. They can't do some kind of games as a service. It's too competitive. They're not going to make the money there. This is fine, right? And the developers, after fees and engine licenses and everything else, are left with about $300,000. Well, that's profit. They've all been paid up to that point, but it's just $300,000. That's not enough to make the next game. They can put that in the bank for a rainy day, but they're still walking a tightrope. But now they got to go to a publisher who just did the math I did and be like, fund us. And the publisher can be like, you got to sell more games. You got to make games cheaper. If they self-published, they would have came out 1.4 million ahead instead of 300,000, and that would have been a little better, but that wouldn't have been enough to make the next game, right? And that's the trap we got in. It's exactly where we are with Stray Bombay, is we don't have enough money to fund the next game, and publishers are so cold right now and everything that I'm doing the prototype for the next game so that we can hire up a team around it. Probably, maybe, we'll see. Because it's changing, and it's getting bad. And so games like Ori that people clearly enjoy, it's rated super highly, did well, you're going to see less of. And you're going to see more of the crazy bets. You're going to see more of the sticking in crazy monetization, or you're going to see partnerships. You're going to see licensing, because then you can get back some of that money on licensing, or who knows what. But if you think someone sold 2 million copies and you're like, $40 million, woohoo, we're taking a helicopter to work tomorrow. There's a reality of that. And, that's why you see so many people trying to do games as a service and try to make those bets that just make that endless amount of money. Because while you'll have a long tail for your game, our game still sells. There's not been a day that the Anacrusis has not had somebody new downloaded from Steam. Be it from a Humble Bundle to Steam sales or whatever. Every single day, somebody is. But it's small. It's tiny. And Ori will do better, but still, the tail's not what it used to be because there's so much competition. There's so many games in this space. So there is no happy ending to this. There's no like, hey, this is the golden bullet and all you have to do is this. It's a crapshoot. It's luck. And publishers are getting, just less and less wanting to take a shot themselves. And that becomes the big problem. So, he's talking directly about the developer point of view, but from the publisher point of view, this was a tiny success, but not enough. It is grim. It is grim.